And we're live.
Amazing.
Hello, Susie Godsey.
Hello, Viv. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, everybody, to 10-minute quickie live and updates with Access Consciousness. What's new, what's hot, what's trotting around the globe with Access Consciousness. And my desire is to invite people to so many new possibilities, because the depth and breadth of the tools of Access Consciousness go way beyond this reality, way beyond, you know, a lot of what brains can conceive. And ESSE, for me, energetic synthesis of embodiment, of structural embodiment, is one of those very topics. So, Susie, I've invited you on because you are the creator of ESSE, and I would love for you to walk us through what ESSE is.
That is very good. What is ESSE? That's a very good question. So ESSE is body work, and basically, it's it's something that I started many years ago when I started working on Gary Douglas, and it's a little bit different from like a body process. We have a lot of body processes in Access Consciousness, and they are very dynamic tools to change your body. And ESSE is a little bit different from that in a sense that there is a different engagement with the molecules when you play with ESSE. So ESSE to me is more, it has more of a movement involved in a way, versus a body process where the energy, to me, when I run a body process, the energy flows like a river. And when I play with ESSE energy, it's more like I'm throwing a pebble in a lake, and then all these ripples that go through, I engage with in a different way. So it's really not easy to describe it until you've done it. And then a lot of people say, whoa, ever since I've done the ESSE, now actually the body processes are running more dynamically, which is kind of cool to see that, yes, it's a very different energy, and no one is not better than the other. They're just different.
That's a fantastic description. That is an absolutely fantastic description, because I know the first time I experienced ESSE, I was on the table experiencing ESSE. I've had a lot of body work over the years from a multitude of modalities, but there was something really, it's like the communion that the person gifting the ESSE is actually creating with the body. It's not that you're having something done to you, you know, like a lot of massage, whatever. Sometimes I feel like it's being done to me, but with ESSE, there is this totally different connection with the molecules, with the being, with the fibers, with the cells, with everything of the body, whether it's, you know, whether it's musculature, whether it's tendons, whether it's, you know, because for me, receiving it, it was like, I could sense the energy going actually into the vertebrae on my back. I could sense the energy, but it wasn't through, you know, force, physical force. So do you want to describe a bit about how you discovered ESSE as well?
Well, that's a really good question, because I don't really truly know how I discovered it. I basically, you know, when I first started with Access, I was a bit of a bodywork junkie. I had a lot of stuff going on with my body when I discovered Access, and I was kind of a sicklish child, and I was also still quite sicklish a lot, like would have flus or this and that and the other thing. And when I started Access, I quickly realized that this body work was a contribution to me. And it changed my body completely, and I started to be healthier and healthier and healthier. And then one day, I started also working with Access, so I was doing or still am doing the recordings and the live streaming and all that stuff. So I was traveling to a lot of places with Gary and Dane to do the audios. And one day Gary was sitting in front of me in a taxi, and I just felt like I had to touch his neck. So I reached forward and I touched his neck, and he said, "Oh, like he immediately was, relaxing. And when we got to the place where we were staying, he said, hey, can you come over for a bit and work on me? This felt really good. And I said, sure. And so I started working on him, and that's really how it was born. It wasn't that I sat there and one day decided, I'm going to do this and it's going to be called ESSE. As a matter of fact, I think I worked on Gary and Dane for about a year before I said, what am I doing? Does this have a name? Like, what am I doing? And Gary is so brilliant with names, and he just came up with that name. So, this is kind of how it came about. And I really, in the beginning, only worked on Gary and Dane, which was such a gift because I got so much feedback from them. And they're so incredible in just receiving, but also being willing to really perceive what's going on in the body and give me feedback about that. And so there was just so much in that gift to basically be working on them as well. And so that's been the beginning of the journey, and it has been a journey.
And I loved how you've added, or Gary got the energy of synthesis. So how would you, I don't want to put a definition on it, but to synthesize something, for synthesis to occur, what have you witnessed with bodies? Because I know you do this with people and with animals, and anybody can learn this. You don't have to be a practitioner. You don't have to be qualified. Mums, dads, children, anybody at all with no background whatsoever can learn this very simple but very potent technique. So, So, what have you seen occur, Susie, with this process?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for bringing up the word synthesis, because to me, that is really what it is. It is basically changing something. And Gary, said very well that ESSE will deconstruct the glue of judgment in the body. And, yeah.
Oh, just that small,
just that little, exactly, just this little bit. But so for me, it is really that engagement with the body to really see what's the contribution here, what desires to be changed, what's going on, what is possible, and to really allow a body to ask for what it desires, and you to be present with that, and then basically gifting and receiving at the same time in a way that is very different than anything else, to be honest. And so I've seen so many changes in animals, in people. And it's very interesting because some people, they come to class and then they work with somebody, and it's 2 days back and forth. You start working and it's different people. And then months later, they call me or Andrew and say, hey, you know what? Actually, I didn't really want to talk about this, but I've had this pain pretty much my whole entire life. And I came to the ESSE class and it went away, but I didn't want to say anything because I was certain it would come back. But it's been 6 months now and it still hasn't come back. So now I can truly say this was changed in the ESSE class, And we get that quite often. And to me, that is such a gift to get this feedback of people that are really saying, this has been with me for a long time and now it's just gone. So that's pretty awesome.
So what else is magically and miraculously possible with bodies? So if any of you are watching now or in the future and you'd love to know more about ESSE, I'm going to put Susie's website here because there's a lot of really cool stuff that you offer, Susie. So on this website, you'll see her classes all around the world. So Susie facilitates ESSE extravaganzas. She works with animals, people, and also Andrew, you mentioned him earlier, Andrew Gardella, he often co-facilitates with you as well. And he's a phenomenal body worker and 3-day body class facilitator.
Yeah.
Now, the prerequisites for this class, what do people require?
Yeah, so for the ESSE basically bodies class, it's just a foundation. So, and it's within like a reasonable amount of time. So not that you have to have done it recently, but also we're asking it to be not like 10 years ago. So, but a foundation class is really all that's required for this. And why are we doing even that? Because to us, we realize that if you haven't had foundation, it's really not so easy to drop into that idea of no judgment. Because when you've never been exposed to access before, judgment is still your number one place to function from, because that's what we're being taught in this reality. And so to step out of that is quintessential for ESSE. You have to be willing to have at least less judgment than you had before you had access tools. Let's just say that.
And to revisit something and to reiterate, our point of view creates our reality. So a lot of us don't even realize when we're judging, how often we're judging, what we're judging, because we haven't known anything different since we were a little child. So it's not that what you're doing is wrong. It's that we are mostly unaware of the judgment that we're doing. And guess who we judge the most? Us. Guess what we judge the most? Our body. And so when you were saying about ESSE deconstructs, and correct me if I get this wrong, deconstructs the judgment, the solidity of judgment. Yeah, it undoes the glue of judgment. And that's what creates the dysfunction in the body. So the structural embodiment is about you having a totally different possibility with your body, and embodiment with everything around you. So Susie, I'm really excited because you're coming to Australia for the first time in about 9,000 years.
I know.
So you've got a class coming up in Sydney, the 13th to the 15th of September. So if you'd like more information about that class, ladies and gentlemen, just go on to susiegodsey.com, scroll to the bottom of the front page, and you'll find the classes there. So I was going to put the URL on, but it was really long. So I figured this is an easy way for them to also get to see where you're going in the world and also what else you're facilitating. So
thank you, Viv.
Anything you'd like to add before we hop off?
Well, I just would like to encourage you to really have a look at how you be with your body, and could you maybe consider dropping some of the judgments that you are having on a daily basis, especially when you look yourself in the mirror, what is really possible. And, also to really know that our bodies are so willing to listen to us. So if you are bombarding your body with judgment, the body will do its best to fulfill all the judgments that you have. So just be aware of that, because when you keep judging your body, you might actually keep creating what you're judging the most. So how could you turn this ship around and really start to be kind to you, and not to try to talk you into like, I'm beautiful. If you feel like you're not beautiful, that doesn't work. But how can you change that point of view that you're not beautiful? And what would that take for you to really step out of it and really go, oh, you know what? I'm in total allowance who I be. And it doesn't, no longer is it relevant, So that is an invitation I would like to extend to you, just because, like Viv said, we're judging our bodies so much. And would your life really get greater if you stop that? So
thank you so much, Susie Godsey, my dear friend.
Thank you, Viv.
Thank you for everybody joining us. There are a couple of comments. Thank you for the link there as well in the chat. The link there for the September class in Sydney is available in the chat too. Otherwise, go to susiegodsey.com. Thank you, Susie. Thanks, everybody, for joining us now and in the future. And keep your eyes open and your awareness on for the next 10-minute news and update. Mwah! Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.